Have you ever stopped to think about what really drives the world? I mean, is it the tangible stuff we can see and touch? The factories, the tech, the smart people? Or is it something way more powerful and totally invisible? We're about to dive into this wild idea that our reality is actually built not on facts, but on fictions, the really appealing fictions we all just kind of agree to believe in. Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, let's start with a little thought experiment. Just picture this. A super logical alien gets sent to Earth. Its mission? Simple. Figure out our economy. So our alien lands in New York City back in 2007. It sees this incredible hub of progress and wealth. It comes back just 2 years later, 2009, and from its point of view, nothing physical has changed. The skyscrapers are all still there, the universities are full of brilliant people, the internet is even faster. All the raw materials for a booming economy are right there, totally intact.
But then, the alien pulls up our economic data, and its circuits must be absolutely frying, because it sees that in just those 2 years, U.S. household wealth has cratered by a staggering $16 trillion.
And on top of that, 10 million more people are suddenly out of a job. The alien is just completely baffled. The buildings, the brains, the skills, they didn't just vanish into thin air. So what gives? What our alien visitor couldn't measure, what it couldn't possibly see, was the single most important economic asset we have, and it's the one thing that had completely collapsed. See, in 2007, the story we all told ourselves was about endless growth and rock-solid banks. By 2009, that story was in pieces. It was replaced by a new one, a story full of fear, panic, and distrust. It was just a story, but that collective change in what we believed caused more real-world devastation than a fleet of alien warships ever could have. And this gets right to the heart of it. It's this weird quirk in our human programming. The more we want something to be true, the more likely we are to believe any story that says it is, no matter how crazy the odds. It's a powerful trap, and we all fall into it. And you see this in the most human and sometimes tragic ways. Take the heartbreaking case of Ali Hajaji, a man in a Yemeni village whose son was terribly sick. He had no money for medicine, so out of pure desperation, he allowed elders to perform a folk remedy, pushing a burning stick through his son's chest. His reason? Well, it says it all. In that desperate moment, he'd cling to any story, no matter how dangerous, that offered even a tiny sliver of hope. And there's actually a name for this powerful psychological force, an appealing fiction. It's a story we cling to precisely when the stakes are highest. We're talking health, money, our future, and when our own feeling of control is at its absolute lowest. And that's why we get so hooked on bold market gurus and those get-rich-quick schemes. The promise of predicting the next big thing, it's just so huge, so life-changing, that even a 1% chance feels like a lifeline we have to grab onto. That right there is the magnetic pull of an appealing fiction. So this idea ties directly into another one of our brain's fascinating shortcuts, our deep, deep need to feel like we're in control. We create these simple, neat and tidy stories to make a messy, random world feel like it's all perfectly predictable. Think about it like this. Picture a 1-year-old child. They have zero concept of a career or a budget or a mortgage, right? Their world is full of these massive blind spots. But to them, their world isn't confusing because they just create a complete story using the tiny bit of information they have. Dad left the room, so now I'm sad. As adults, we do the exact same thing, just with, mortgages and stock markets. See, deep down, we want the world to work like astrophysics, this beautiful field with unbreakable laws, constants, and just incredible precision. Just get this. When NASA sent a probe on a 3 billion-mile journey to Pluto that took a decade, it arrived within minutes of the predicted time. How incredible is that? That's the kind of beautiful, predictable certainty our brains just crave. But finance, and frankly, a lot of life, is nothing like that. It's not a hard science. It's a messy, chaotic dance of human psychology. It's all driven by fear and greed and all of our other unpredictable emotions. Okay, so if we can't really trust these neat and tidy stories we tell ourselves, what's the best defense against these fictions that are so darn appealing? Well, for starters, we gotta get real about how much we actually control. Take entrepreneurs. Most of them will tell you their success is like 80% their own hustle. But that story conveniently leaves out all the invisible stuff, right? A competitor making a huge mistake, a sudden shift in the market, or just plain old good luck. And that's really the key here. Just like that aliens circling our planet, we think we're observing objective reality. But so often, what we're really doing is just watching a movie that's playing inside our own minds, based on this incomplete script we've written for ourselves. So the answer isn't to just go out and find a better, more accurate story. The real secret is to accept that no story is perfect. It's about admitting what you don't know and building a buffer for when you're inevitably wrong, in your finances and in your life. It's about creating a plan that can actually survive contact with reality. Which kind of leaves us with one last and maybe tough question we all have to ask ourselves. We all have these stories, about our careers, our abilities, our futures. The real challenge is figuring out which ones are true and which ones are just the appealing fictions we desperately want to believe.